You have finished making your blankets and you just thought, oh, maybe I can add hearts to the blanket. You want to add hearts on it to strategic places, maybe one or two, but you already finished making the whole blanket. This is how I learned to add a heart to the blanket that is already finished. If I was making the blankets, I would use the first method, but if I had already finished the blanket, I'll use the second method. So you get a piece of yarn, probably about 7 to 8 inches, 7 to 8 inches of a piece of yarn of the color you want. This is what we're going to do. So the heart is going to be over a loop on each blanket. On each loop, this is a loop or a stitch. It's just going to go over a stitch or a loop. What you're going to do is find a hole. You kind of literally make a hole. You find a hole, put this one in, go around it like how the loops went. You go inside, find another hole here. Hope you can see that. Find this one. So you're kind of putting it on top of another loop or another stitch. You're putting it on top of a stitch that you already made because you're already done with the blanket. Then find where this one came out from, which is here. I'm going to put this one back in here. Hope that works. Put it back in here. Sorry. Yeah, that didn't work. Okay, now it worked. Let me do that again. So you find a loop, like one of this. Let's say we're doing it here. We found this one. You're going to go in from the bottom part of the stitch, put it in there. Then you go around it how the loop or the stitch went. You go around it from left to right or right to left because the heart is one stitch, so we're going to make it over a stitch that we already made. Then when you come out, you put it back into the same hole that it went before. You put it inside the same hole. So now both of them are coming out through the back like this. You can pull it down to make it tighter. That's a heart. It's on top of one stitch. It's not going to be as cute as this one really though, but it's still going to be pretty. Now, the problem is that when we anchor this doesn't have an anchor or it doesn't have anything to hold it. It's going to come up. It's going to come up because nothing is holding it at the bottom. So now what I will do is I'm going to cut this. I hope I do this right. It's been a long time since I did this. I'm going to cut this, then burn it together. I'm going to burn this two together. This is much more work. Adding it after you already made the blanket is much more work, but some people prefer it. So I'm going to burn this two together. Hopefully they will stay. I said it's been there. Yep, it's not staying. Alrighty. Okay. Still hot. Let's hope it stays. If it doesn't stay, we're going to do something else. So you burn the two together. If I pull from here, those two are going to come up. If I pull this, it's going to come flying out. Now what I will do is I'm going to find this one just right above where the two came out, just right above it. I'm going to suture it. So I have my thread and needle. I'm going to suture this onto the line that it came out from, like the one above it, where we looped it out from in the beginning. I'm going to suture it to there to give it an anchor, so that when you pull it from the front, it's not going to come up. This method is a bit difficult, but at least you're doing it at the end of the blanket or when you're done with the blanket. But if you have the opportunity to do it while you're knitting the blanket, I would say it's easier. But if not, maybe you just thought of it last minute, then you can do the second one. Okay. All right. Now you have a hat. If I pull on it, it's not coming apart. It might look funny, but it's not coming apart. So you can either anchor it to the one on top or to the one below, depending on your preference. You can either do the one above where the two of them came out or the one below it, just to give it an anchor or somewhere to hold on to. And then you suture it or you tack it or you sew it, whichever English works. But those are the two ways you can add a hat to a blanket. I prefer this first one. Which one do you prefer? Let me know in the comment section.